To set the tone for today's proceedings, I now invite a stalwart in the academic world, Dr. Harivansh Chaturvedi ji, Director General, ILM Lodi Road, to deliver his opening remarks.
It's a great honor to welcome all of you who have come today to give your support to the launching of the PhD program being offered by IILM University, Gurugram. Very auspicious occasion. That's why we were also inviting Goddess Saraswati to bless us. And secondly, we have organized on this occasion to organize this research colloquium to think about what role can be played by a quality PhD program in facilitating the connection between industry and academia for research which can help in promoting innovation in our country. The country, when we are looking towards Viksit Bharat, when we are aspiring to make India a third or second largest economy of the world, we have to think about what is the role of research and innovation in achieving these very big goals. And it is being said by many people that it is doable, it is achievable. India can easily become a developed economy within the next 20-22 years. But there are many ifs. There are many riders, many conditions. And one of the conditions is that we have to promote innovation. We have to promote startups. We have to develop the startup ecosystem. And we have to think about how research activities can be galvanized in our country. We have more than 1,000 universities, 50,000 colleges, and we are producing around 40,000 PhD every year. But average quality of the PhD program is poor. What is the reason? There are many, but two important reasons are lack of funding for research. Industry is spending only 0.3% of the GDP on research. And also, it is being said that the total expenditure of research both by industry as well as the government, it is 0.67% of the GDP. The global average is 1.5% of the GDP. South Korea and Taiwan and some of the developed economies are spending 3 to 4% of the GDP. Funding is a big problem. And this problem is very acute in academic institutions, both public universities and private universities. And most of the majority or the major part of the budget allocated for research is being consumed by the 50 research laboratories owned by Government of India. I remember that one of the industry leaders, Dr. Naushat Forbes, for last 5-7 years, he is speaking about this issue, why Indian universities are starved of funding for doing research. And he is proposing that why the 10% or 15% or 20% of the national allocation for R&D activities can be earmarked for the universities and academic institutions. PhD may be diluted at many places in our country, but globally PhD is symbol of scientific research. It is symbol of a logic, developing the logic for any problem solution. It is an evidence-based effort to find solutions of any problem related to industry, society, or economy. So I would not take much of your time. I know that today we have very eminent people from academia as well as industry. Our chief guest, Professor Raj Srivastav, has been a votary of promoting research and collaboration of academia and industry for promotion of research. He has been a renowned professor of marketing at global level, and he has been developing the Indian management education because his family is located at USA, but he has been working both in developed part of the world and also emerging economies of the world. And we know that from 2016 to 2021, for 5 years, he has been the dean of Indian School of Business. And while leading ISB from the front, he has done some of the remarkable work for promoting Indian brand globally in management education. And he is working in Academy, American Marketing Association, and he has been associated with the work of Professor Jagdish Seth. I am very happy that Mr. Jai Shah, who is the CEO of Indian Academy of Marketing, which has been inaugurated the Doctoral Consortium and 2 days conference inaugurated today at Gurugram, and he is also present here. I can find some of the industry leaders, the ex-CEO of SAGE, which is a big American publishing house. Mr. Vivek Mehra is here, and I know that Professor Ajay Kumar Dey, who has been a stalwart in northern India for promoting case method of teaching and research, he is here. He has joined recently, few months back, ILM University, Gurugram, as Professor Emeritus in research. And he is giving 1 day at IILM Lodi Road also. So 3 days he is devoting for this cause, and he is very passionate about the research and case method of teaching. So I find that many of the young leaders of IILM campuses, they are present. Mr. Anil Gupta, he is from industry. Professor T.R. Pandey from Ajay Kumar Garg Institute, Ghaziabad, he is here. And our young team of academic leaders as well as researchers, they are also present. So it's a small gathering, but we feel very much excited. We are feeling very much inspired by the presence of Professor Raj Srivastav. Give a big hand to Professor Raj Srivastav. And we have made, although the planning was made a few weeks in advance, but we have made it very important that we should have some industry leader also. And getting or catching an industry leader of repute it is not easy. So I made it that easiest for me is to request Mr. Prem Singh, because we are closely connected in various forums, and he could find time. Thank you, Mr. Prem Singh. And he is the president of National HRD Network, because nobody is bigger than him. In India, after FICCI or CII, the biggest HR forum in our country is National HRD Network. People may be knowing it. And Mr. Prem Singh is the president, elected president, and also he is heading the HR function in a very big India's business house, JK Group, which has 45 companies. It's a very big conglomerate in our country. And Mr. Prem Singh is leading the group HR. And he is also involved in academics because he is on the board of the JKLU, the university founded by JK Group. So thank you, Mr. Singh, that you could find time today. Once again, I welcome all of you. I can find Mr. MS Rao, who has come from Hyderabad, although he was having some meeting, but we requested him to be present here. I can see Dr. Neha Ramonkar, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of ILM University, Greater Noida. He's here. And I can find Mr. Ravi Jain, Dr. Ravi Jain, who is the Director of ILM University, Gurugram. And Dr. Vigyan Verma is here. He is the Director of IILM Lodi Road. So we have many. Dr. Rahul Singh is here, who is leading the research endeavors of IILM University, recently joined. And he has been working at BIMTech for a long time and recently joined IILM University, Gurugram. So I welcome, ladies and gentlemen, all of you. I thank my colleagues, Dr. Rahul Singh and Dr. Ravi Jain, for bringing this program here. And this is the place where IILM was born. So it's a birthplace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the tone. It is now my great honor and privilege to introduce our chief guest, a visionary scholar and one of the most respected names in global marketing and innovation field, Dr. Rajendra Srivastava. Dr. Rajendra Srivastava is the Novartis Professor of Marketing, Strategy and Innovation at the Indian School of Business. He comes with experience of over 30 years as an academician and administrator. He has held several tenured faculty and administrative positions during his career. Before joining the ISB, he was Provost and Deputy President of Academic Affairs at Singapore Management University. Dr. Srivastava's research interests include marketing strategy, marketing metrics, and brand customer management. His current work focuses on business model innovations, especially in services, B2B technology, and emerging market. He is best known globally for his work on measuring the impact of market-facing business processes that creates value for customers and the value of market-based assets. He is also well known for his work in competitive market structures and brand strategic management. His latest research and teaching interest includes business model innovation, strategic performance management, marketing accountability, and driving growth and shareholders' value. Dr. Rajendra Srivastava is a highly cited scholar with work published in leading marketing journals. He is also the recipient of several awards and honors, like AMA Marketing Strategy Award, SIG Mahajan Award for Marketing Strategy, and many more. His research spanning marketing and finance and economics area has been published in Journal of Marketing, Journal of Marketing Research, Marketing Science, and Journal of Banking and Finance, all very prestigious in their fields. He was a guest editor for the Journal of Marketing Research Special Issue on Brand Management and Equity, and the Journal of Marketing Special Issue on Marketing Strategy Meets Wall Street. Additionally, he has served on the editorial board of several academic journals, including the Journal of Marketing Research and the International Journal of Research and Marketing. Prior to SMU, he held distinguished research chairs and senior management positions at the University of Texas at Austin and Emory University in Atlanta. Professor Srivastava is an MBA and PhD from the University of Pittsburgh and MS in Industrial Engineering from the University of Rhode Island and holds a BTech degree from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. He is a thought leader in business innovation and organizational transformation with over 25,000 Google citations, making him the most cited marketing scholar based in India. He has led higher education institutions across the globe and was appointed a fellow of the American Marketing Association, the only person living in India to be awarded this fellowship for his long-term contribution to the marketing discipline and practice. His accolades are very, very long, so I'm not taking much time of my audience because I can go on and on for quite a few minutes. So now I welcome Dr. Harivansh Chaturvedi to welcome Dr. Srivastava with a bouquet. We are equally delighted and honored to welcome Mr. Prem Singh Ji today amongst us. Mr. Prem Singh Ji is the President Group HR, JK Organization, New Delhi. He serves on the Board of Management, JK Lakshmipat University, and also the convener, directors, and senior executive council strategic think tank of the group. He is also the Honorable President, National HRD Network, a premier association of HR in India. In addition, he is also the co-chairman, HRIR Committee, PhD Chamber of Commerce. An alumnus of IIT Delhi, Prem Singh Ji completed the CHRO programs from Wharton Business School, University of Pennsylvania. He brings with him a rich experience of 32 years, having worked in American, European, and Indian companies, including 3 years stint overseas for an expatriate assignment. In addition to HR, he has also handled corporate communication, TQM, Lean CRM, other domains, etc. He's a certified black belt in Six Sigma. He's an executive coach certified by Marshall Goldsmith and a strength coach trained by Gallup. He has been invited as chief guest on various occasions, convocations, and orientations of universities, and as a keynote speaker in several conferences organized by IIMS, Economic Times, NHRDN, CII, AIMA, IMA, and several business schools, etc. He has also been on advisory boards of several universities such as Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies, NIRMA, Chandigarh Universities, etc. Also on the SPJIMR Delhi Center Industry Advisory Council meeting. He has been awarded with Chairman's Leadership Excellence Award in 2016, Seasoned HR Professional by NHRDN in 2017, Pride of HR Award by Top Rankers Club in 2022, and CHRO of the Year Award by Business World in 2023. We welcome you, sir. I request Dr. Ravi Kumar Jain, Director, School of Management, ILM University, to welcome Mr. Singh with a bouquet. Now it's time for us, for which we all have gathered here, to hear our chief guest, along with Dr. Prem Singh Ji and Dr. Rahul Singh, to steer us into an engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Today's theme, I request Dr. Rahul Singh to join Director Research, ILM University, Gurugram, to join the conversation and begin with the fireside discussion with our esteemed guest. Thank you, sir. We eagerly look forward for this enlightening dialogues. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I think, given the context set by Chaturvedi sir and the kind of introduction Vidisha ji has done, that saves a lot of time at my end. But a couple of things, if I may share, which will connect to the topic that we are in, which is connecting research and what is happening at the doctoral level in scientific process and how are they benefiting in value creation process for industry and academia. There are two examples I would pick up quickly and then move on. You're coming from Wharton. I have always tried to learn from researchers, great researchers. I interviewed Michael Osim once. Oh, yes. And published. Absolutely. That article was very well received in Indian management. The second example comes from Professor Srivastava. He has a habit of using research for industry, but connecting it with incentives. So he takes maybe 3 to 5% or 10% as a initial money whenever he's going for consulting assignment, and the rest of the money is connected to the performance. So if your stock price reaches from $10 to $20, I'm taking an example, I get my money, otherwise I don't get my money. And I did same what I did with Michael Osim. I followed him and I lost 10 lakh rupees. So professors don't earn money. If you copy professor, of course you're not going to get money anyway. So this is why, Chaturvedi sir, I could not bring the consulting assignment which was connected with the money, and no money came into BIMTech. Research is important. Why I was connecting this way, I wanted to start, these three dots, the professor or education, the industry, and the value creation process. And the way I know Professor Raj Srivastava, I have very, very high regards because I keep learning from these people in their readings and in their behavior. The idea of research is not about publication. Research and publication are two different words. They can be connected, but it's not necessary to be connected. Sometimes we take them along, and that's where things go wrong way. If they go, if they can go wrong way. The context which is set today is to understand where is this research going, especially in the Indian context. How are we treating this? How can this contribute to the industry growth process, especially when it comes to knowledge creation and application of knowledge to some good product and service? Why should Cognizant run away from India when it was established in India and become an American company? I don't want to be TCS and Infosys in some way. I want to have that American DNA, which is an IT company creating a knowledge ecosystem. And Chaturvedi used the term ecosystem, and I think you use this term a lot. We talk about how the value creation process happens. So how this knowledge is going to be used for commercialization purpose or economic value added process, commerce sometimes is taken in a negative way. There can't be a better team that we have today. Somebody who is coming from industry, who has done all through, an engineer who got into business and handling the talent management. Probably talent management is the first marketing phase, to get the best of the guys and folks from the market for the organization. And the second is somebody who is a thought leader who said, just living in past and identifying future is not a good idea. Maybe something else to be done. So let's look on alternative futures. And he has given a theory. I will request, in case he would announce that, talk about it a bit, how to connect this research and creating scenarios and futures. The context is already set. I was only connecting the dots on the topic which we have here. Something that we have agreed I would like to share so that we can benefit from the time that we are going to spend. I would request Prem Singh sir to start with you for some time, and then we move to Professor Srivastava. I will raise a couple of questions from my side to connect on the topic, and then we'll open it for the audience if this is okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think the reason I stood up, I guessed as much that it's about 4:30. So energy levels I could very well imagine. Good afternoon. Slightly better. I wish it was even better. So anyway, so first of all, I would like to give a big round of applause to Dr. Chaturvedi and his team for starting this program of PhD. And many a times I now remember and I recall a very famous couplet from Ghalib, Dil behlane ko khayal acha hai Ghalib. Many a times I remember Dr. Chaturvedi calls me Dr. Prem Singh. Fact is, I am yet to become a doctor. And I think this is one reason why Dr. Chaturvedi thought कि कम से कम इस बहाने प्रेम सिंह को तो बुला ही लो. At least he will enroll himself in the PhD program. So I must say, Dr. Chaturvedi, you have done a fabulous job. So my compliments to you and your team. And I think let's give them a big round of applause for starting this program. Now let me start by quoting Plato, who said that the necessity is the mother of all the inventions. Necessity means challenges, opportunities, whatever is happening. So let me try and paint a picture as to what's happening around us, because then we'll be able to appreciate why the research is important. Otherwise, we may not be able to appreciate the essence behind it. We have been we have talked about this word called VUCA. It's an old story now. Today we are really living in the world of Bani. Brittle, anxious, non-linear, incomprehensible. If I have to summarize everything in one word, absolutely unpredictable, high degree of disruption, high degree of unpredictability, and you can't imagine what's going to happen tomorrow. Markets are disrupting, business models are disrupting, societies are getting disrupted, countries are getting disrupted. So much so, even the presidents are becoming disruptive. And sir, with all due respect to the richest country in the world, the current incumbent of the richest country in the world is a disruptor himself. So you can't predict, you can't imagine what he will say, what he will do, and whether he will change anything tomorrow or day after or next week. Very difficult. So that's the kind of times we are living in today. So that's one kind of change which we are seeing. Second, the whole piece around climate, weather patterns changing, global warming, these are becoming their own challenges. Sustainability, that's becoming a big challenge for everyone. Third, the new age technologies, AI, digital, ML, IoT, and what have you. And even as we talk, I'm sure somebody is inventing even higher level of tech, which will be even more disruptive. So much so that we are tending to become kind of prisoners of tech. Let me demonstrate why I say kind of prisoners. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when you got up in the morning, what did you do 30 years ago? You said namaskar to your elders, or you touched the feet of your mother or your father or your elders, or you did something to pay respect to your elders in the family. Today, what is the first thing that you do in the morning when you get up? Reach out to your smartphone, right? So we have almost become so attached, almost addicted, that almost everything seems to be hovering around tech. That's third piece. Fourth piece is extremely important and extremely unpredictable. The geopolitical shifts of power. We all have seen, and this is another example of disruption. The governments across the world, in many parts of the world, the conflicts that are going on, these are bringing very different levels of challenges. Fifth, and very important, friends, demographics, which is touted to be a big advantage for India, but I must caution. India is a young country, 29 years of median age, but by about 2050, when we aspire to become a Viksit Bharat, just imagine what will be the kind of age of the country. And it's not too far off. The problem which entire world is grappling today, problem of aging, I think that is knocking at our doors also. Why I say this? When we got independence, the average longevity was about 45 years. Today, average life expectancy is 72 years for males, about 70 years for females, and it's going to grow. In another 10 years, 20 years, 25 years time, there will be a large number of people in India who will be advanced in age, still fit, still capable of doing a lot of work, but would have retired. How do you engage those people? How do you make sure that you leverage the wisdom they have accumulated? This is going to be a big issue. That's another challenge which is going to come. Against that background, let's also look at another dimension which is important for India. This is more about global and some tinge about India. India aspires to be the Viksit Bharat developed country by 2047, which means today we are around $4.5 trillion. For next 25 years, we must add at least $1 trillion every 9-10 months. Look at the pace on an average, right? And look at the pace which has been seen in the past. First $1 trillion after independence took 60 years, for us. Next $1 trillion, 7 years. Next $1 trillion, 5 years. And now we are around $4.5 trillion. How do you make sure that you are really able to achieve those targets? That's where we need to think different. It means the same models, same practices which we have been used to so far cannot be adequate. We need to discover, we need to invent new business models, new paradigms, new ways of working, new technologies, right? And it's not a luxury, it's a need, it's a necessity. In fact, there is a research by McKinsey that those organizations, and that's where the research fits in, that those organizations which integrate research into their business programs tend to outperform their peers by about 25-26%. So it's not a wishy-washy stuff. It's a real hardcore stuff. Produces measurable outcomes, not only for the people who are conducting research, but also for the business organizations. But what's important is collaboration between industry and academia, so that the knowledge creation by academia finds a practice in the context of industry, which serves as a good platform for validation and refinement of the concepts. One another point. World Economic Forum has discovered, after a lot of research, as to which are the top 5 skills needed in 2025 and also 2030. Critical thinking, complex problem solving, analytical skills, innovation, these are on top of their list. And that's exactly what doctoral research is all about. We do need that structured thinking. We do need that deep thinking in industry more than what we needed in the past. I'll give 2 examples. I have worked in pharma industry for about 10 years. So the last one was work hard. You see, I'll use one word, AMR, antimicrobial resistance. You would have seen that many antibiotics today don't work anymore because human body have developed resistance. That's called as AMR, antimicrobial resistance. And for last approximately 26, 27 years, there have not been new antibiotics that have come. Knowing this, Wokhart commissioned a research along with many institutions to get into this space. And guess what? After 5 molecules they attempted, 2 have become already successful. These kind of examples are important. This is the need of the hour. And this happens only when there is a collaboration between industry and academia to address the unmet needs of society. Second example, JK Tire, you would have seen the advertisement on the television, puncture guard, smart tire, etc., green tire. We have started a collaborative program. In fact, we started about 10 years back with IIT Madras in our R&D center. And all these technologies that we have been bringing out, like smart tire, green tire, are a result of these collaborative research efforts. So it is no longer a wishy-washy stuff. It's proven. There are substantive outcomes. It is measurable. Only thing I would say in the end, I think it's high time that together we up the game of this collaboration between industry and academia. From NHRDN side, we have already started some joint research. I have been a strong proponent of research myself, and I think it is only fair that we must raise the bar of this endeavor. Thank you once again. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the need and the way it is already working in industry, of course. But I'm stuck somewhere else. I think I'm looking at my first scholar in the program, in the PhD executive program. So you're going to join, right? Taking it forward, thank you so much for highlighting the industry need of research and how the value creation process is already happening. I think in our context, we observe certain examples, but in the context of Europe and US, we have many examples. When I look at Israel, I think universities are producing what is happening to the world. Defense and technology, a lot of innovations are coming which are probably multiplied in economic value creation process or benefits in rest of the world. Israel does not use everything by itself. Thank you so much. Sir, may I invite you and request you to connect these two dots, the research, academia, and business, how the value creation process happens.
Thank you. Thank you. Premji sir, I'm not going to have your energy. I left Texas at 2 in the morning. And last night, so I slept about 3 hours the previous night, and slept about 3 hours last night as well. So, no, I'm sitting and talking. So I'm not going to walk and talk. But let me start out a little bit explaining about how I got where I am. And I'm one of these typical people who went to IIT, then did a master's, and I started my PhD in operations research. And the company that was funding my assistantship, they went bankrupt in 1975 during the first oil crisis. So I had to find a job as a foreign student. And I found 10 hours with a finance professor, 10 hours with a marketing professor, and I was in the engineering school. And so, then they asked me to grade papers. So how do I grade finance and marketing when I don't know anything? So हमने सोचा course ले लेते हैं. So I'm a strange mixture. I've probably had more courses in org behavior than in marketing, and probably more courses in finance than in marketing. And the University of Texas made the mistake of hiring me in the marketing department. I had one PhD course in marketing and one MBA course in marketing. And I show up as a 27-year-old, and the average age of my students was 31. So I don't know any marketing. And I didn't know much to speak of. So I had to learn. And there was a guy called Lamar Johnson. He worked for the Procter & Gamble company. He was pretty senior. So उन्होंने हमें दुआ दे दी, हमको सिखाना शुरू कर दिया. So I owe a lot to Lamar, and I'm one of the people in marketing who grew up on the business-to-business side. And so Lamar Johnson was one of them, and I was tracking what he was doing and trying to understand not how Procter & Gamble dealt with the consumer, but how did Procter & Gamble deal with companies like Walmart. So it was more on the B2B side. And so this was going well, but Austin, Texas is hardly the place for consumer goods marketing or for financial markets and so on. It was a bit of a tech center. So I decided in 1987 I'm going to teach a new course called Marketing of Technology Intensive Products and Services. I knew nothing. Other than technology, I didn't know very much. What I did know is there's a lot of talent in industry. And discovered it in two ways. One is I started spending time with companies like 3M, with Hewlett Packard, with Texas Instruments, with IBM. These were all companies in Austin I got to know. And from them, I learned partly what they knew, but the more important thing was I learned what they did not know. The questions they were asking then became the fodder for research that needed to be done. And then, so I started this course in 87. In 88, I came up with a new version of the course, and that included live cases. So in a class of 30 students, I had about 6 projects, 5 students per project, somebody working for Hewlett Packard, somebody working for 3M. And then I became entrepreneurial. I decided we're going to charge people $25,000 per live case. And what I learned with that is that when people are paying you money, they expect something out of you. It's not like daan de diya. Okay, they want you to do something. And the contract with them was they will come to the beginning of the class to get it started, in the middle to get a sort of half-term report, and then the final report, and they would help me grade. The university provost found out that I was asking outsiders to grade, and that was a no-no. Okay, so I said, okay, you slap my wrist, I won't get them to grade, but I'll get their opinion and I'll incorporate it in my grade. What I learned from these guys was that the students were doing an excellent job in solving problems. And I remember the Hewlett Packard person telling me that my students were doing a better job than McKinsey. So what I learned in these interactions with life cases, and I do them today also. I run a Center for Business Innovation, and we're doing live cases. Who are my live cases? It's companies like Moglix, it's a unicorn that's come out of ISB. Another is LiftSpace, that's another unicorn that's come out of ISB. And what I do is I get these founders to come into the class and talk about what motivated them, what are the challenges that they're facing. So the students are working on issues that are not a Harvard case. Because the reality is that India is not the United States and India is not Europe. And what context becomes very, very important. And the only way to bridge the gap is if we find ways in which academia can work with industry. So I'll give you some popular themes that I've tried. The University of Texas made many mistakes, including making me department chair in 1990. So, by the way, these projects that I was running, I brought in $600,000 over 4 years. So, so I was not consuming resources. And the funny thing was, I was once traveling in Europe and I get a phone call chasing me all over. It was Texas Instruments. And my contract with them for the class had been $20,400. They had issued me a check of $204,000 by mistake. So they were trying to find out where they thought I'd left the country with the money. No, but what we did leave with is an understanding of the issues that industry was facing. Then I came up with the strategy. I could not call it faculty internships, but I called it corporate immersion. And the idea was that my junior colleagues would go and spend a semester at 3M Company, or would spend a semester at Procter & Gamble, or would spend a semester at Motorola. And so one of these, two of these I'll describe. One is a person called Ajay Kohli, who really, really highly respect. He's the former editor of Journal of Marketing. His job at 3M Company was to talk to senior management. There were 6 divisions of 3M in Austin, Texas. His job was to interview senior managers, and every Tuesday, he had to come up with a 2-hour seminar to answer questions that he had picked up. I mean, imagine having an assignment like this, where your job is to discover a problem and then try to come up with at least a position paper on it. And so every Tuesday he had to present a seminar. And he learned so much from that was incredible. Another colleague of mine, Tasu Sherwani, who the University of Texas decided not to give tenure to. So he said, fine, I'm going to become a consultant. And Tasu, by the way, is also Jagdish Shet's, so I mean, yeah, doctor. No, he's worked with Jagdish Shet very, very. Yeah. So the first year, Tasu was not on the UT faculty. He brought in consulting revenues that were more than the budget of the entire 22-member faculty at the University of Texas. So now I'm mixing up research and money. But I'm really a believer that if you're going to do research that matters, you've got to incentivize faculty to do it. And Rahul, you might remember when we had a conversation about a year ago, one of the things that I did at SMU in Singapore and at ISP is that there's a straight line relationship between a consolidated rating on teaching, research, and service and the raise people got. The net result was that people who were doing well, see, if the average raise was, let's say, 6 or 7%, they got 12. And the ones who weren't doing anything, either in class or research-wise, they got 2 or 3. But if you got 10 or 12% for 5 years in a row, you were too expensive for the schools to hire. Okay, so the people who were not performing, they were welcome to leave. Other schools would hire them. But for the guys who were doing well, the other schools could not afford to hire them. Now, let me kind of run around a little bit as to why we need to shift the axis. In academia, we talk about doing research and bring it into the classroom. It's the good old Germanic model. I don't believe that works anymore. What we need is we need to get government and industry engaged in this process. And therefore, we need applied research. Okay, this is research that Jagdish would say it's working on problems that matter. This is what I learned from some of my other mentors like Gerald Zaltman. And by doing that, what we run into is an environment where we're actually solving problems. And I really think that the executive PhD program that is being launched by ILM is the kind of thing that needs to be done. In 2010, I launched a similar program at Singapore Management University. The idea was to bring in people with 15, 20 years of experience. And what they brought into the classroom was insights that many of my academic colleagues did not have. So they understood what were the issues that needed to be addressed, and then we could start focusing on how to resolve them. So that was in terms of live cases. It was in terms of some research actually being funded by the companies. And it was also leading to results that were very publishable. And so now just imagine if you can bring in, and this is what I did at SMU, we reviewed about 30 universities at that time, and we said, if I take the best out of all of these, how would I design the program? So we designed a DBA program, and it was full of applied research. And the idea was we created something that I later on labeled as a learning table. Not a roundtable discussion between industry and academia, but a learning table, okay, where you decided at the end of that meeting, okay, what are the issues we're going to take care of next time we meet. So the learning tables were progressive in terms of addressing issues. So this particular program I then brought to ISB, except with a difference. The faculty was now global. It was not just the local faculty, it was half the courses were taught by global faculty. And the average student was averaging 21.6 years of experience. 60% of them were CXOs. And every year, one person would get promoted to a CEO. Now imagine if you have this group of people interacting and working on problems that are worth solving. Okay, this is very different from the kind of PhD student I was when I went undergraduate, master's, PhD, and I did not know anything. So what is important is that we bring in all this talent that is lying, and this is what this program is doing. And in my opinion, the industry now needs to also step up. Okay, and I'll just be very frank, Indian industry is very cheap. Okay, they don't like to invest in research. And if you're not, I mean, your example is great, coming up with product innovations. But if you're not going to invest in research, you're not going to come up with innovations. So whether it is product innovations or it is business model innovations, what we need is we need the collaboration between industry and academia. And these can be measured and they should be articulated. So let me go back to another story. I was in Boston and I was flying back to Texas and I get a call from the chairman's office at Texas Instruments. So there's a guy called Tom Engibus, his secretary was calling me and said, we heard that you're in Boston. Can you stop off in Texas on the way? Well, let me make another diversion as to why I was in Boston. Because I was this mixed up academic who didn't know whether I was marketing or finance or whatever. So people discovered that I was a marketing guy who understood finance. So in 1988, the American Marketing Association and the Marketing Science Institute approached me and said, the value of brands is getting to be very important. That marketing has now to justify the return on investment on marketing. And you've been doing this finance work. Would you be interested in co-hosting a conference on brand equity? This is the first conference ever on brand equity. And that then brought me into doing applied work, including editing a special issue of Journal of Marketing Research, which is our top journal at that time. Anyway, so I knew something about the value of brands. And so I stop off in Dallas on my way to Austin. And Mr. Engibus turns to me and said, look, I hear you're teaching at Texas Instruments Virtual University. So they had created a virtual university, attracting all kinds of people to come and teach in that. And would the University of Texas be interested in designing a program in technology strategies? Because I'm tired of Intel running circles around us. That was the description, literally. He said, my people are just as smart, they're just as this, they're just as that. But Intel is running all these circles. So could you do a technology strategies program? Which we did. They bought all 50 seats. They gave me $4.3 million, $86,000 per student, when the average executive MBA program at UT was $40,000. They paid more than double the price for that. But they wanted a program on technology strategies. And that particular program on technology strategies led me to some levels of understanding that I didn't even realize that these were all multidisciplinary. And the kinds of problems the students were working on, they were sponsored by a C-level person, the head of manufacturing, the CFO's office, or whatever. And one team, we call these issue-based learning, issues identified by top management that needed to be addressed. So live cases, except sponsored by the top with money on it. And when you have people who are working on problems identified by the chief executive's office, people get serious. It's not like another case study to do. So one group worked on how do we come up with a software and manufacturing solution so you can produce the same semiconductor design and manufacture it in all 22 fabrication plants that Texas Instruments had globally, which meant they didn't have to go through customs, they didn't have to do this. As long as the design was there, they could manufacture the same chip anywhere in the world. Well, this particular project saved TI about $5 million a year. At a 10% cost of money, that was $50 million. So they put in $4.3 million, and this one project got them $50 million. Okay? So this is the kind of thing that we need to do. In all seriousness, what we need to do is we need to work on projects that are going to bring something for industry. And it is in this kind of consciousness that I'm now spending time on trying to figure out what can India do. Now, most people don't know that if you look at the top 5 steel companies in the world, 3 out of the top 5, including the top one, is an Indian company. Now, why don't we know it? We are chasing Gora Sahab cases. I'll just be very honest. Why aren't we writing about JSW Steel, about the progress that Tata has made, and so on? And I am very proudly, when I'm in UK, which is not very frequent because I hate Heathrow, I'm very good at pointing out to my friends at London Business School that the largest employer in the United Kingdom is an Indian company. Okay? So, when we look at the steel industry, a lot of negativity because of Hindenburg about Adani Group. Now, what people don't understand is why is the Adani Group so valuable? It is because has to do with growth. It has nothing to do with debt equity ratios. So this morning I was pointing out that the value of companies has nothing to do with the balance sheet. I pointed out that Apple sells at 46 times book value, and MasterCard is 55 times book value. So less than 2% of MasterCard is on the balance sheet. Now, when you look at what is driving this, and this is where my research goes back to the 1990s, the value is dependent not on EBITDA. Okay, now this is where India needs to change. EBITDA, I get a headache. We're looking at the past. We need to look at the future. And so I pointed out, I was at actually the board meeting at the Adani Group. It's about a year and a half ago. And I pointed out the value of ambition. And I can tell you, if there's anybody who's ambitious, it's the Adani Group. It was almost like, well, I was talking to them, planned growth. And the example I was bringing up was Indigo. At that time, Indigo was number 7 in the world in terms of market capitalization. And I said, the way things are going, and the way the trajectory is in terms of growth in the airline industry growing at 24%, the investments they had made, I said, take my word, within 3 to 6 months, they'll be in the top 5. They were number 7. People said, they got Singapore Airlines to overtake, and that was supposed to be the kingpin. And so what happens? In 3 months, they overtake Singapore Airlines, and in 6 months, they got to number 3. Another 6 months, and they got to number 2. And then the great Donald made them number 1 for 18 hours. How did that happen with all these tariffs, etc., etc.? Delta came down, and Indigo overtook Delta for about a day. But they're in a very strong number 2 position. And I can guarantee you, if there's going to be any airline that's going to reach the top in the next 5 years, it's going to be Indigo. Okay, why? Because they're making the investments in people, they're making the investments in equipment, they are investing in analytics, and they're using that insight in order to literally run Indigo like a Uber or an Ola. Okay, so they're using analytics to get the highest productivity that they can out of those assets. And that is what we need to learn. How do we, if it's not, by the way, it's not marketing, it's not finance, it's not anything. You've got to integrate everything. And this is where the executive PhD program comes in. Because senior executives can bring a multidimensional view. And I think the biggest mistake that we make is a marketing PhD and a finance PhD and an HR PhD. I think when it comes to the executive PhD program, we really need a multidisciplinary perspective. Because without that multidisciplinary perspective, you will be solving only pieces of problems. Okay? So let me kind of shut up at this stage. I've been very, very lucky to have all kinds of mentors and all kinds of opportunities along the way. But in many ways, the opportunities come because of the desire to be curious and to want to answer the question why. And I think that if there's one word I can teach to my PhD students, is to pay attention to why and forget the rest.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we clap Thank you so much, sir, for this journey and taking us through the journey where you started as a student and then going to the next level, understanding who, as a professor you are and as a practitioner you are. And probably in the process, we connected the dots of business and education in such a manner that knowledge became the central point instead of practice and the degree. So this is great insight. I'll cut the next portion at my end because it is important that we pick up few questions from this learned audience. So we can have a couple of questions if you like to raise 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay.
Good afternoon, Dr. Srivastav, and good afternoon, Dr. Singh, if I may call you. Very intriguing to hear both of you, and also to all the learned people sitting here. The whole academia and the industry connect is so important for all of us. As you mentioned about your organization. Many few people may know this. Way back in mid-90s, 96, 97, I was actually trying to see future, and I was at IIT Mumbai, and with one very eminent professor, Dr. Deepak Phatak, and we were discussing two things. One was, how can we bring the bhaji wali to make small payments without cash? And the second thought that I had in mind was, can we create an alternate to the Visa and MasterCard and to save the interchange fee so that everything remains in India as per. It took almost 5-6 years, and the result of this, I would say, the industry and the academia is what today all of you do, the UPI, all the wallets that you have been using, and also the mammoth, the whole RuPay card, which took a new avatar. So this has been the journey all the way from IIT Mumbai to various stakeholders like the regulatory bodies like RBI, all the banks, Ministry of Finance, and almost a decade to bring this kind of a revolution itself. So I think I'm very much in sync with this. My question, sir, was, while we keep hearing stories of the great industry and academia connect at well-known companies, the MSME sector in India, which contributes, is almost 30% of GDP, right? And probably the export is almost 50-60%. Has there been any work going on, in that area where rich doctoral thinking or research has been embedded in them? Number one. My ground reality experience has shown with few companies, it says कि पहले business करो यार, बाद में let's take some ज्ञान. This is also kind of stuff. So anything if you could highlight on those areas would be very beneficial. Thank you.
I think I can share one live example. I used one term called smart tire and also a lot of other related technologies. Just imagine you are sitting in your car or your car is being driven by somebody else, but there is a small chip in the tire which is connected with your smartwatch or smartphone. You can monitor all the parameters related to tire, all of them, just on your device. That's number one. Number two, tire industry has gone through a considerable transformation in terms of innovation. The warranty resolution about 3-4 years ago, it used to take anywhere between 2 to 3 days to 14-15 days to resolve warranty cases. That was the time horizon based upon the case. What we did, and this happened in JK Tire, along with a very small unit startup, and that's where the MSME's role comes in. So we put a bet on a very small startup based in Pune, who worked with us and designed a system in which today we are able to resolve all the warranty cases anywhere between 19 minutes to 31 minutes. How it happened? Millions and millions of data points. They were all collected along with the pictures, fed into the program, created a app, all the possibilities fed into the system. Anything that comes is matched with the existing database, and the program just says yes, no, or yes with some riders. That is it. It took some time, but what we did was we betted on a small unit, a small startup, which was just about 10, 12 people. But we did make sure that these people did have the capability. So I think the point that you are making is extremely important. It is a joint responsibility and also appreciation of the fact that working with these small startups is far more economical. Also, it raises the bar in terms of their capabilities. It benefits everybody in the long run. Thank you for asking that question.
I have a little bit of a contrarian view on this thing. We need to help the MSMEs grow into big bad boys. Now, really, see, we had Paytm. They did a great job generating the market, the fintech market. Then we came up with UPI, NPCI, the India stack, and that pulled the rug out from under Paytm. So Paytm is pretty much gone. Who's in their place now? Tell me. Who's making the best use of the India stack? It's Google and Walmart. PhonePe is Walmart. So, you have to ask what the hell is going on. Modi ji was in Paris, and for one day, they were accepting RuPay and UPI to buy tickets to go up the Eiffel Tower. I don't think there were too many other French restaurants or etc. accepting it. So you've got to build the network. So the value of MasterCard and Visa is based on the millions and millions and millions of people who use it, the hundreds of thousands of banks who issue them, and again, millions of vendors who accept it, and all the other people who are willing to do advertising, etc., related to it. So that network is not going to be built with cost minimization. So I am really, this thing that we have in our head, that we can only compete on cost is nonsense. We have to compete on value. And I can tell you that it's not going to be RuPay that's going to replace or take the fight to Visa and MasterCard in the US. It is going to be these retailers and the Googles that will learn in India, and the US is already working on something called FedNow, which is the equivalent of UPI. And it is going to be Walmart and Google that will take on Visa and MasterCard, but not RuPay. Because we are looking at cost minimization rather than how to win the war. Okay, and we're not going to win the war by RBI stepping in and saying you can't charge for this, you can't charge for that, and therefore we don't have the funds to fight Visa and MasterCard globally. So anyway, that's my opinion. We need many more Adanis and Ambanis and Tatas and JSWs or whatever, because we need that firepower to grow globally.
One more question.
So just a very small one. This is coming from today's conference only, wherein you had mentioned that marketing broadly is often seen as an expense by the outsiders rather than an investment. So how do we change this mindset and perception of people towards marketing?
Fire the accountants. As long as we keep focusing on EBITDA and as long as marketing is classified, it's not just marketing. Why don't we do R&D in India? Because what we do is we look at EBITDA. How do we keep EBITDA up? Is by not spending money on things like R&D because the government says that salary spent on research scientists is an expense. It is not an investment. And therefore, if I'm a senior manager and my bonus is going to depend on EBITDA, I'm not going to spend money on R&D. The difference is, in India, what is happening is that senior managers get compensated based on profits. If you go to the US, there'll be a manager, they'll have a salary, they'll get a bonus, but the major payoff is on stock options. And we don't have a stock option culture out here. So everybody is trying to get the bonus out of EBITDA rather than the bonus out of growth. So we just need a total change in mindset. And this is where we need broader thinking, not the kind of thinking that is coming out of accounting.
Probably this is the reason why we don't have any story which is growth margin story from India. All these have come from US or Europe. We have only profit margin stories. Thank you so much, sir. Can I invite all of you to kindly appreciate the contributions that two gentlemen have done? Thank you so much. Vidisha ji, back to you.
This was an amazing fireside conversation, I will say. And no, it's just blown away the mind saying that the research has to be taken into new dimensions. And industry and academia not only collaborate, but sometimes they start competing to get better growth results out of it. The question will always remain that we look forward to action-oriented research or theoretical research. But I would be happy if Sir could tell us that where we should lead our scholars towards action-oriented research or theoretical research. Maybe the question from my side. Sure, sir.
Well, I'm a big proponent for leading from results from practice. And theory, you need the why to explain, but you start with relevance and then you come to
Theory.
rigor.
Yeah.
We can't start with rigor and then ignore relevance. So that's my opinion.
Thank you so much, sir. Prem, sir, you would like to add to this?
Yeah, what I would imagine is it's not so much a question of either or. I think both are important. We need new knowledge creation, which happens through the research. We need application that happens in the industry. And I think if the two join together, the outcomes will be far better. That's my take.
Thank you so much,
If I
sir.
may add just
Yes,
one
sir.
thing. One of the things I've noticed, I've been very lucky that I've roamed about 55 countries.
Oh.
And what I learned in Germany is, the German companies sponsor a lab. So if I go to the University of Stuttgart, there'll be a Daimler-Benz lab
Yeah.
in automotive
Yes.
design. Or if I go to, some other university, there'll be an SAP lab.
Yes.
So
Unique access, yeah.
this investment that industry is making is absolutely necessary, and we need to see that collaboration coming up.
Thank you so much, sir. So now it's time for us to join our hands for launching our PhD program in management. It gives me immense pleasure to present a brochure which we have created for today's launch. This program isn't a degree. It's a transformative journey that champions intellectual inquiry, ethical leadership, and research with real-world relevance will bring forth to. To formally launch the program, I now invite our distinguished guests to join us once again. Dr. Rajendra Srivastava, Mr. Prem Singh, Dr. Harivansh Chaturvedi, Dr. Ravi Kumar Jain, Dr. Bigyan Verma, and Dr. Ajay Kumar Dey. You have enough brochures? No, enough. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nisha, you have worked hard the last 3 months to shape it up with the guidance of live up to the purpose that you articulated in your talk today.
No, the more money you make, the more you can spend on the doctoral program.
Oh, yes, sir. Please.
May I now request Dr. Chaturvedi to felicitate Dr. Jatendra Srivastava with a shawl. And I would like Dr. Bigyan Verma to present a memento to our honored guest.
Thank you, sir.
Nice, so nice.
सर स्टैचू को खड़ा कर लीजिए, स्टैंड कर लीजिए सर.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Day to felicitate Mr. Prem Singh ji with a shawl. And I would like Dr. Ravi Kumar Jain to present a memento to our esteemed guest. So please join us. I would also request Dr. Jain Shah to join with us. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion with your presence and your inspiring contributions. Before we conclude, we extend our sincere gratitude to our leadership team, faculty members, industry partners, research collaborators, administrative staff, and the entire ILM community whose collective efforts have brought this vision to life.